Hi, Steve.
Hi,
It's
Janie.
Jeannie from AP. Good to see you.
Nice to see you too.
How was the first day, and how was sort of the breakdown of doing things in smaller groups, and what did you get done, and were you pleased with it?
Yeah, I mean, it's been 9 months really since almost to the day, I think, since we last played a game. So to have everybody on the court practicing, it felt great, and we had a good day's work. Rusty, as you might imagine, because the guys have basically only been doing the individual work, the last week and for most of the summer. So to have everybody on the court and working in groups was a really good step and much needed. But we got a ways to go.
Steve, does that mean that more of your coaches are split up with the small groups? I mean, does each group have a coach at their station, or how is that looking for those of us who can't be in there to see it?
Yeah, we were able to have basically a full scale practice. We had smaller groups for station work, different stations of defense and offensive skill, and then occasionally we were able to bring all 10 players on the floor together and scrimmage, kind of in controlled scrimmage situations. So we're basically in full training camp mode, and we need to be. We have a game in 5 days, and I think opening night is 2 weeks from tomorrow. So it's kind of insane. So very little time to prepare.
Steve, what was it like reuniting with everybody? I mean, you mentioned it's the last game was March 10th. I mean, obviously you have bonds with these people, but how do you come together again? And how do you play a game in 5 days when it's been so long since you've been together as a unit?
Yeah, well, we've all done this for a long time. Whether it's coaches or players, I mean, even guys who are rookies are used to starting the season out and preparing, for the first game and feeling those bumps and bruises and going through the first few days of practice, feeling all that. Everybody's used to it. So it's just been a long time since we've been together. So it more than anything, it felt great to be out there on the floor, and we're all excited to get the season started.
Steve, I know you guys are obviously dealing with some coronavirus issues, as a lot of teams are across the league. How, even once your players are cleared to come back, how delicately do you have to ease them back in? I mean, I assume it's not just, you're cleared from quarantine right onto the practice floor.
Yeah, so I'm going to lean on the medical staff for all that advice. There's a protocol in place for players who return from being out with COVID, and it includes a few different steps before they can get onto the floor. So I just defer to the medical staff, and as soon as they tell me a player's ready to get on the court, then we go from there.
Do you know what those steps are off the top of your head?
I know that there's some kind of a cardiogram. I think there's some kind of a heart monitor testing that all players have to go through because of the nature of the virus. And there's a period of time where our two players will be able to be in the gym and watch practice without participating. So from what I gather, it's several days before, between the time they can be in the gym to the time they can actually practice.
Coach Wes Goldberg with Bay Area News Group here. Obviously, losing players in practice hurts what you could do in practice, but just trying to prepare for games and just the knowing that you're going to, encounter this situation a few times probably this season. Is there anything you can do as far as, backfilling those positions? Is it just as simple as, hey, this is the depth chart, next man up, or is there any other strategies that you can implement?
No, it's just next man up, and this is the nature of this season. So everybody's going to be dealing with it, every team in the league. And I think the way we're looking at it is we're lucky to be playing basketball. We're grateful for the opportunity to compete and play. And any difficulties to the season pale in comparison to what's happening out in the world. So there won't be much talk from our end about COVID and the protocols and what it means to our team, because that stuff, what matters is the protocol being healthy and safety and safe and keeping everybody that way. Beyond that, from the basketball front, you just go and you play.
Steve, what did Wiseman look like today? Kind of his first go around in a. Sorry, go ahead, Jason.
No, you can go, Janie. I'll go right after you. Go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't know. Okay. Steve, any impressions of Wiseman, his first, in a scrimmage situation today, or some of your other newcomers as well?
Wiseman did not practice today. The other newcomers looked good. It's great to have Kent Bazemore back in a Warriors uniform, and fun to coach Kelly Oubre for the first time. And our rookies picked things up very quickly. Nico's a very talented young guy, and it's fun. It's the first day of school. It's just you're just happy to be back with everybody and getting to play basketball again.
Steve, just to follow up, I have another question, but is James hurt? Was there a reason why he didn't practice today?
I will not comment on that any further. I'm not allowed to comment on that. You can make your own deductions.
All righty, gotcha.
I know it's really tricky.
Yeah, I agree. So anyway, last week, Steph mentioned to all of us that after a while he got kind of sick of watching the bubble games because he was so jealous that he wasn't out there playing himself. And, for such a high-profile guy, he's only played 5 games in the last 18 months. How is he looking physically to you, and where is he at mentally?
Yeah, he looks great. I asked him halfway through the practice how he was feeling, and he said amazing. So Steph, as you probably would expect, he keeps himself in great shape. He's worked really, really hard to prepare for this season, and he had a really good first day. So it's wonderful to see him back out there. Heartbreaking to not have Klay Thompson next to him. I thought about Klay first thing this morning, and just still just feel so bad for him that he can't take part this year, and this will be the second year in a row. So it just stinks on that front. But great to have Steph back, and he's looking and feeling good.
Steve, how did the other star look, Draymond? I know a lot is riding on his success, a lot of your success is riding on how well Draymond plays. How does he look?
Draymond did not practice today either. So when he's ready to go, he'll be out there. I'm not worried about Draymond. He's got a better feel for what we do than anybody. So he'll be fine once he gets rolling with practice.
Can I amend that then to ask about Pascal?
Sure.
I found one.
Yeah, Eric looked good. He worked really hard this summer. He's in excellent shape. He's such a physical player. The biggest challenge for him next up anyway is to improve defensively and to get a better feel for how he can make an impact at that end. Offensively, we know what he can do. He showed that last year. So I'm mostly interested in his defense. I thought he did a good job today.
Steve, did anybody else not practice we should know about, or any injury concerns that held somebody out?
No, everybody else practiced.
Thank you.
Steve, with not having James and Draymond for however long they're out, what kind of issue does that present to you guys? Particularly James, obviously rookie. This would be his first camp. You're implementing a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but again, it's just the way it goes. So we've been our coaching staff has been showing him tape the last few days, and he's still getting some homework in between now and the time he'll be able to play again. So it's not ideal, but nothing's ideal for anybody in 2020.
And Steve, is it the type of situation with Draymond where you also can't specify the reason why
Correct.
he's not out there?
Correct.
Steve, this is awkward.
It is, isn't it? I'm
you
just
mentioned-
I'm just trying to figure out which one of you has put all of the pieces together and figured out what's happening here, and if there's anybody on the screen who hasn't figured it out yet. I think you guys all got it.
Thanks, Steve.
I was a little worried about Anthony, but I think the rest of you guys can figure it out.
Wow.
We appreciate you. I know it's tricky. But
I appreciate you guys too.
those two guys, so you'll bring them back into practice when they can. And what are they? Well, can you say what they're doing right now?
No.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. Yep.
Steve, do you have is Ron Adams still your defensive czar? I know you've put a lot of emphasis on defense coming into this year. Like, how are you guys approaching that in camp?
Yeah, Jaron Collins is the defensive coordinator, and Ron is a huge help to Jaron and to all of us. And Ron was still running parts of practice today. He still has a big impact on what we do, but Jaron is in that coordinator role.
You mentioned before the goal was to build a top 10 defense in training camp. Are you sort of segmenting out a certain portion of each day dedicated to defense? Is there a percentage that you want to see? Yeah.
Yeah, the vast majority of our practice today was spent on defensive principles and drills, and that'll continue. That's the goal, is to establish the defense right away so that we can compete. And our offense, offense always takes a little longer just because there's more complexity to it. Players have to get familiar with one another. We have to figure out combinations, all that stuff. So I imagine the offense will take longer, and we're really trying to zero in on our defensive foundation right now. That it? All right, guys. You guys have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.